I blame my obsession on Provia on one specific human being, Greg Girard. If it was not for his After Dark work in Japan and Hong Kong and China and Vancouver and LA and all over the world, I would have never purchased a single roll. I know not all of these photos are from Provia, but I really love that After Dark slide feeling. And if there's just one time and place I could go back to anywhere in history and just look around, it would be Japan in the 70s and 80s.
Photographer TJ6-3.7. Let's begin. Ready?
Yes, sir.
Recite your baseline.
A system of frames of the yellow mirrorless began to spin. A system of frames interlink within frames interlink within frames interlink. That's about enough of that. Fujifilm Provia 100F comes in 35mm, 120, 4x5 or 8x10 if you're feeling extra daring. The 8x10 runs about $300 for 20 sheets, so you really got to know what you're doing. I feel like I know what I'm doing 30% of the time. The Iceland shots worked out really, really well. You'll see in a future video. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video, and you'll see my failure in slide film coming up shortly on a trip to Montreal, which was a great trip. I just didn't perform photographically as well as I would have liked to. And here's your in-flight meal, Mr. Greer. Portra 400. Provia is a color positive film, which means that you're going to get back a color transparency rather than a color negative, and in my opinion, looks kind of cool. And because of that, you can just load that slide film right in your slide projector, and you can invite all of your friends to come over to watch your trip, your travels, your portrait session, whatever it might be. Or if you're like me and you have no friends, you can just make this video and put it on YouTube. Because Provia is a color positive film, it is a chemistry process that not every lab can do. In fact, very, very few labs in Canada will process E6. I send mine to Richard Photo Lab in California. It is a few extra dollars, but they do an amazing job, and all of the scans you're seeing of my work have been done by Richard Photo Lab. Super, super happy overall with them. So yeah, maybe check them out if you're interested in processing your E6 film. And another thing that I'll mention is that the frequency of them running the chemistry is maybe a little less often. C41, black and white, I feel like they kind of do every day. E6, they wait for more of a batch. I guess it's better overall on the chemistry. I'm not a scientist and I don't play one on TV. So we've just checked into our Airbnb and they didn't really mention that there were no doors or windows or furniture or beds. There's a bit of a bed down there. 35mm. Wants to use the flash. Not gonna let you use the flash. There we go. And that's what you call a natural frame. Frames. I'm really far away. This is a good stop. Oh, this is a good wall. I don't know if that's a photo. To be completely transparent, got it? Transparency film. Transparent. I am about maybe 25 to 30 rolls total into my life with Provia, which means that I am by no means a seasoned veteran in slide film. What I hope that this video does show you is what you can very easily achieve within maybe a few test rolls, figure out kind of where you fail, where you succeed, and pretty quickly you can be creating work like this. The way that I was actually originally exposed to Provia, or at least seeing the name for the first time, was actually using Fujifilm cameras, digital cameras, their APS-C bodies, as well as they have Provia in their medium format bodies as well. And quite honestly, that was the first thing that I would change. I would load up my camera. I'd be like, oh, Provia standard. Okay, I'm gonna find something else. And I always like the other film simulations better. That said, in actual film work, I prefer Provia to most other Fuji stocks, even if it is a little more challenging to shoot. We'll get to that after this. Thank you. Damn. adventure pants. So as you can see, Provia really does create beautiful, vivid colors. For landscapes, it's great, especially for this time in Iceland when everything was nice and green. It really accentuated those greens. I guess, I don't know if it's a joke, but basically the color of the box kind of is what colors you're gonna get out of the film. And it's kind of that blue purple cast, and I don't know, is that real? Please let me know in the comments, because every box of film that I see, it seems like that's true. Greens, you're gonna get some really good greens. You're going to get some really nice, I guess, blues, especially after dark, which you're going to see in a moment, even if those images are a bit out of focus, because I try to handhold at 1/4 of a second, which is kind of challenging to do. This is my white wine because I'm allergic to barley, a true failure to the human race.
Apparently there's a dessert buffet coming up after the concert.
Sæla vindum þýðum á sjónum alla, bárur smáar rísa, flykkjast heim að fögru landi vísa, á fóstur jarðar minnar strönd og hlíður. Ó heilsið öllum, heimarómi blíðum hæ og sund í drottins ást og friði. Kissið þið bárur, bát á fiskimiði, blásið þið vindar, hlýtt á kinnum friði.
And this brings us to the challenge, I guess, with slide film and with Provia. Maybe more specifically, I've had this doesn't exactly translate 100% what I'm going to say to Ektachrome. When you're shooting slide film, you're kind of shooting, I'm gonna put this in digital terms, you're kind of shooting just a JPEG. Whatever you're seeing is kind of what you get. If you blow out the highlights, they're gone. If you make the shadows completely just in all black, you're not gonna be able to recover a whole lot of that. Whereas if you're shooting with something like a Portra 400, you have way more latitude and you kind of have a quote unquote more of a raw file to do what you want with. With slide film, you gotta be really spot on with your metering or bracket appropriately. So if you think that you're gonna blow out the sky, maybe do an exposure that's just a little bit less. I found that even in the most simple conditions, when I think my metering is exact, I'm still blowing out pieces of the sky. And when I look at that image, my eyes just go straight to like, why is the sky broken? And I can't even really look at the rest of the images when there's such a technical flaw happening. You can kind of mask this or hide this a little bit by bringing down the highlight point in post-production. I found that that's kind of what I had to do for a number of these images because of my errors. So know that whenever you're shooting Provia, you have way less latitude to do anything in post-production, but also know that when you do nail it, there is a sense of like, you feel good about that. You're like, yeah, I took that photo. And no one else will understand that it actually took effort. They'll just look at it and be like, that's a nice photo. And I find that I get more of an internal reward whenever I shoot good slide film than I do just good color negative film. The after dark work I'm going to continue to work on. The problem obviously with this work here in Iceland was that I did not have a tripod with me. I would be bringing a tripod, I would be stopping down a little bit. The lenses that I was using on my Leica M6 obviously have some massive vignetting issues. So you can see the color palette, but unfortunately the sharpness should be there, but it is not because of my error. I thought that it was gonna be great. I was like, yeah, I'm doing like the little sniper breathe where you just exhale as you hit the shutter. Didn't work out. And that about wraps it up. If you're interested in getting the color palette and the contrast and the tones and everything that you've seen throughout this video, you're done. You get the film, you process it, and make sure your metering's bang on. I second guess myself a heck of a lot now, now that I've seen some failures in my work. So now I'm shooting kind of two photos for every one photo that I would normally take to make sure that I do retain the highlights that I want. I have a tendency to overexpose, and that is not so good when you're using this film. And because of my overuse of film, I'll be staying off of the 120 roll on this RZ67 for a little while now. Until I actually figure my life out. And that's not gonna happen anytime soon. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe. If you're interested in seeing more of this Iceland trip, there is a full 1+ hour documentary that is up on my channel, and you're welcome to go view that. It is, we think we're funny. You can decide if you think it's funny or not. just let me know. Go check it out. It's on the screen. You can just click it. And then you go there. What do we do for the end? Do we play the intro backwards? Why not?